Well, hello, and welcome to a new episode of the Recipe Reader, brought to you by Storytime in Stephanie's Kitchen, a podcast to whet your appetite, introduce you to tantalizing recipes and cookbooks, and motivate you to try something new. Hi, my name is Stephanie, and I have collected, tested, and curated recipes for over 50 years, playing in the kitchen since the wee age of 8, and finally finding time to deep dive into my vast collection of cookbooks lining my bookshelves. So please, cozy up, pour a glass of wine or beverage of your choice, and enjoy the sweet sounds of recipes and the stories they share. And welcome back. Today we are going to focus on the wonderful book called Plant Feasts: Recipes for Slow Living in a Fast-Paced World by Frankie Paz. This book makes me smile every time I look at it. It sits on my counter. I only have a select few cookbooks that sit directly on my counter, next to my computer, next to my oven. All the rest of my cookbooks are on my cookbook shelves in the other room, and there are hundreds of them. But this one has a special spot. It just makes me happy whenever I look at it, whenever I need a moment just to feel good. I pull out this book and just read a little bit. I also happen to follow Frankie Paz on Instagram, and whenever I see anything she posts, it just brings a smile to my face. So I thought I would share a recipe or two from this particular cookbook. And the first time I heard about it was through the Jamie Oliver Cookbook Club that started many years ago and sort of is still going, sort of is not. Anyway, that's another story. Let me read to you about Frankie Paz from the back of the book. Frankie Paz has been living a plant-based lifestyle for over 15 years, inspired by her vegan 97-year-old grandma and her time living in sustainable communities in South America. She keeps it real with her down-to-earth approach, embracing the magic and messiness of being human, hosting intimate ceremonial supper clubs in London where strangers become friends through storytelling. So, let's take a look at the recipe I'd like to read to you. Is actually on page 165, and this is perfect for spring. It is called Asparagus with Smoked Garlic Cashew Cream. It's in the small plate section of the cookbook. Serves 4 as a side. Time 20 minutes, plus 4 to 6 hours soaking. From the head note: I love the faint bitterness of asparagus, drizzled with the sweet garlic cashew cream, the perfect balance. They say that asparagus was used in lust and fertility spells, especially when it came to men's stamina and potency. Asparagus comes into season just as mating season starts. This dish was created as the sunsets became later in the day. Boat jams on the roof, potions, and a few sides with friends. It represents the start of a summer of love. What you'll need: blender, frying pan. Ingredients: olive oil, 300 grams, 10.5 ounce asparagus, trimmed. A handful of Brazil nut Parmesan. See page 174. Salt and pepper. For the smoked garlic cashew cream: 100 grams, 3.5 ounce, 3/4 cup cashews, soaked 4 to 6 hours, then drain. 1 tablespoon nutritional yeast, ½ teaspoon smoked garlic granules, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 2 tablespoons lemon juice, a pinch of black pepper, 125 milliliters, 4 floral ounces, ½ cup water. Method: blend all the ingredients for the cashew cream in a blender until you get a really smooth, creamy consistency. If it's still a little thick, add an extra tablespoon of water at a time. Heat a drizzle of olive oil in a frying pan over medium heat, then add the asparagus. Cook for about 7 minutes, turning occasionally until slightly charred and softened, but still with a slight bite. Arrange the asparagus on a plate and drizzle over the cashew cream. Sprinkle with the Brazil nut parmesan and season with salt and pepper. Bonus! You need to know how to make the Brazil nut parmesan. So, on page 174, we have the Brazil nut parmesan. Makes 1 small jar. Time 10 minutes. From the head note, this was one of the first things I started making when I was on my raw food flex. It adds depth to any dish. Not only does the crumble texture look beautiful, the garlic edge complements anything roasted or fried. I love to slice tomatoes and sprinkle this parmesan on top. It can be as simple as that. What you'll need: food processor. Ingredients: 130 grams, 4½ ounce, 1 cup Brazil nuts, 1 teaspoon chopped garlic, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 1 tablespoon nutritional yeast. Method: pulse all the ingredients together in a food processor until you get a fine crumble. Taste and add more salt if desired. Store in an airtight container or jar in the refrigerator for up to 3 months. So, I would love to mention that Brazil nuts might be hard to find sometimes, so I'm sure if you use another buttery nut, that would make it taste amazing. If you have to, go ahead and do more cashews. I would totally recommend tasting this treat of asparagus just for lunch, for dinner, for a snack. Perfect. I hope you enjoy Plant Feasts by Frankie Paz. As you can see, we have just scratched the surface of this amazing collection of recipes. If you would like more information about this cookbook, please take a look at the notes I have provided. And most of all, please join me for our next delicious recipe read aloud here at Storytime in Stephanie's Kitchen. As always, keep reading and cooking.